it's absolutely beautiful, and the architecture. But there's also all the differences as well when you travel from one part of the city to another. Like Washington D.C. is a beautiful and very varied city. So you have, internally we call them biomes, but basically, what we mean is like there are lots of different places in the city that look and, more importantly, play pretty differently. So, for example, you have the suburbs or the residential feel, I guess, of Georgetown. You have essentially what is jungle in like Roosevelt Island. You have the downtown commercial district. You have the government district. You have the mall. You have all these like wildly differing, locales in Washington D.C.
With Manhattan, it wasn't a true one-to-one. Some streets were missed out.
That's right.
But with DC, we're doing one-to-one, right?
That's right.
Like everything's in there.
That's right. Yeah.
Solid.
Which is it's pretty cool. But essentially, when Endgame hits, the world does transform, right? We have a brand new faction that comes in that actually takes over territory and takes over all of the main missions of the game. Of course, over time, they'll take over more territory. You go over, you kick them out of that territory. Of course, get rewarded for doing so. And then, it all kind of feeds into this really dynamic kind of endgame experience. The Black Tusks are very technologically advanced, right? We have our other factions, which, have varying degrees of kind of their technical expertise and their kind of resources. But the Black Tusks kind of have all of the resources at their disposal, so they'll have things like flying drones. They have like the things that we call the Warhounds, which have that super powerful semi-automatic weapon on their back. They have, kind of mini tanks that they can control. So they have a lot of different tools at their disposal, which, of course, like will kind of change the way that you play as well. I'm saying it now. EMP is going to be your friend. They are also the most tactically superior force that you will fight, right? They don't have more hit points than anyone else. They don't do more damage than anyone else, but they're tactically superior. And they also have the technology that they can utilize as well. So like you will be crafting weapon mods, for example. And you'll have them forever once you craft them. Blueprints will level with you. So you don't have to have a bunch of the same blueprints of different levels. You'll get them. Every single item that you pick up is useful.
Exactly.
Even if you aren't going to equip it, it's useful in some way, right? Because you can strip things from it that give you some use. And again, I don't know how many details we want to get into.
Exactly.
But,
we'll show that in just a second. If we can go back, we have a clip of the crafting station of how that looks. Because initially what you'll see is that when you open it up, obviously all blueprints are unlocked here, but you get those from many, many different sources throughout the game, throughout the world. But here there's a lot of blue stuff, right? One of the things that is coming in the Division 2 is that you'll be able to upgrade your actual crafting bench.
That's right.
And that's how you'll get higher quality things.
That's right.
Back to your point of the weapon mods. I think what is really key to that discussion is that you craft the weapon mod once and you have it forever. There is no random rolls on those weapon mods.
That's right.
They're completely binary. You craft one, you have it accessible to all your weapons. And I think that's really cool. We'll talk more about gear and skill mods. That's a completely different kettle of fish.
I do want to point out one other really cool thing too, which is we have so many more materials and things. Like it's a lot more grounded in reality this time. I think it's a lot more intuitive. It's a lot of fun to play around with.
We'll just quickly show you what recalibration looks like because I'm super stoked about it. Because that whole consumption of the item that you don't really want anymore is really, really important. Because like you say, when you're playing through the Division, I think one of the things that is improved now in the Division 2 is that every piece of gear has value.
That's right.
And Rasmus was saying, he's a game designer on this feature, was saying that you can get really, really good rolls on specialized and other items as well that you might not want to use, but you might want to use that stat from.
That's right.
So the recalibration things are super cool.
You'll a lot of the events in the open world were, to be nice, maybe a little repetitive.
I think that's fair to say.
And this time around, there's a huge variety, and they're all dynamic, right? They happen based on the needs and the kind of wants of all the different factions and the civilians in DC. So you have kind of an ever-changing world with kind of endless opportunities.
That ebb and flow gets really brutal sometimes as well. Actually, the first clip we're going to show is something that still, like, I don't know. It's a bit chilling. I'm just like, if you don't have an adult,
a big smile.
this might be the time. Public executions. are a thing.
Yeah,
actually,
that's right.
in this clip that Ella captured, the thing I love pointing out about this is you actually see another faction getting involved with the public execution, which isn't always going to happen. But the fact that these factions interact independently of your impact on the world, I think is super cool.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, regardless of whether you're there, they're still trying to accomplish their goals, right?
Yeah, and the cool thing with the fact that it's super dynamic is that right now this is happening there, but if you were to come back later, there might be something else happening here, or nothing at all.
Or nothing at all.
Depending on how the living world is behaving, and depending on which faction is currently dominating, and what contribution you made to all of that thing. So it's really interesting then to just run around and always experience something new. But of course, the more you let a faction do whatever they want, and potentially also, like the harder it's going to be for you to fight back. Eventually, also the harder it's going to be for the civilians and the settlements, because they're going to get completely overrun eventually. So it's something that's very interesting.
Yeah, I think this is really cool because you'll see here with the control points as well. Once you manage to take them over, and you get a friendly officer in charge, you'll get access to a supply room, which has all the loots that you might want. The other thing that I found out about that was if you, for example, we saw the control points, but the other activities that are to take on the factions that are currently controlling that control point around the area, if you piss them off enough, they'll reinforce that control point up to higher levels.
Yeah, right.
And that's you said in the last world tier, I think it is, once you hit in-game.
Yeah.
And then if you then take them out, once they've reinforced to max level, you get even better rewards.
Yeah, that's right.
That's super cool. And you can see here, Ella was turning in a bunch of food. There are other things that, I don't know, there are things called blockades. Can we say anything about those yet? Yeah, you give like a nervous sniff. Like we can't talk about blockades.
Yeah. There are a couple other things. I don't know. I think maybe.
Yeah.
It's good to have some surprises, right?
I mean, what there is to say is that when you reach the end game and there is the invasion, like, the Black Tusk comes with its own kind of activity as well in the open world, right?
That's
so they're not only going to just like be contributing to the living world and doing the same thing, they're going to do their own kind of things as well, and like following their own agenda. So it's gonna add another freshness again to all of that.
Yeah.
Things like the Bullet King.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Roaming bosses in the open world.
Sure. All right. Just to be clear, and before Reddit says Bullet King confirmed.
Yes. But they're a little bit different this time around.
How so?
I don't know if I want to spoil it.
Okay.
But there's a little bit more. So there's a little bit more structure to some of them.
Okay, but we can say that named bosses are out there in the open world.
Yes.
They're worth finding.
They are absolutely worth finding.
Yes.
They are not always easy to find.
No.
And there are a certain number of them.
Yes.
Yes.
The Bounties Network.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the Bounties Network?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's a pretty in-depth feature.
We'll
so
do a dedicated stream on it at some point.
I was going to say so. But like, at a kind of top level, we're looking at basically, kind of the most wanted criminals kind of in the DC area that you have contracts to essentially eliminate or defeat. And there are a number of different ways that you can get those contracts. So some of the more kind of difficult and most rewarding kind of contracts you have to kind of find in special ways. There's like some kind of hidden aspects to it, some surprises to it.
There's a lot of hidden secrets in the game that people will have to find on their own. And we don't want to spoil them.
There are a couple that I'm very proud of
that
I cannot say.
Yes.
Right.
And it's not because
several that you two don't know about either.
Yeah, probably.
Seen it in loading screens that got leaked and all of that, but photo mode
is
coming.
Yes. It's so cool.
To the Division 2. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Leamington deserve mad props for that. So
absolutely.
Thanks.
It's pretty.
They did great work.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm really psyched about it. And I know a bunch of the Division community will definitely get a lot of mileage out of that as well.
It was such a requested thing on the first game, so it was like we had to have it.
A lot of the devs, right?
Yeah.
Have loved making wallpapers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. That's true. So it's a bit self-serving as well. All right, Stash Space. So what's going on with Stash Space? We know it's a big topic. It's something that people have been talking about for a very long time. So the idea is by getting that back what you're going to unlock is you're going to unlock extra stash space early on when you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is really to give an extra boost from the early stages to the people that have it. So you're going to get extra stash space from the beginning.
Okay, give me numbers.
But then everybody gets to catch up.
All right, okay.
That's the important
But that's the important part, right?
Yeah.
Is that second part, is that everyone gets to catch up. Right?
So, and the way it works is we have a perk system in the game.
Okay.
So you're going to be, and you have that in the beta actually, you can gain what we call shade tech, which is, a kind of currency that you have to explore the world and find to, unlock new skill variants, new perks, and all these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those perks are actually to increase your inventory space and your stash space. And so what we're going to do is, for those that have this extra stash space, they're going to start with the final perk directly unlocked.
Okay.
So they don't have to grind to get it. They will have it directly unlocked, which means that at the beginning of the game, they will have more stash space. But that perk is available for everybody to get in the game as well if you get the currency.
Okay.
So you're going to get to play the game, unlock all the perks that are related to stash space, and eventually, completely catch up. When you reach endgame, everybody is going to be at the same level.
Right.
And what we're looking at, since people are very attached to numbers,
I am.
what we're looking at is basically you start with 50 slots in your stash.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have an extra 50 that you're going to be able to unlock through various perks as you play the game, as you play the campaign. And then you have the final perk that is an extra 50 that unlocks just when you're doing the end game. And that's that one. That's that extra 50 that you can unlock in the end game. That's going to be unlocked right from the beginning for people that have the Elite Agent pack. So people that have the Elite Agent pack start with 100, get to reach 150 by the time they finish the campaign. Mm-hmm. The others start with 50, get to reach 100 when they finish the campaign, and then unlock the 150 as they play the end game.
One of the really cool features that we haven't talked about at all,
I'm so scared. All right, no, please.
is that you can play with your friend of any level.
Oh yeah, this is really cool.
It's pretty cool, and we haven't mentioned it at all.
Yeah.
And
And we had questions about that actually. Yeah. So how does it work?
So the way it works is that if a friend is a higher level than you, you play with them. You essentially get leveled up to their level, and you get to play with them without any kind of penalty. You still get XP, you still get loot, and it's all for you. It's not like it's this inaccessible, leveled up loot or something like that. It takes care of it. So behind the scenes, we basically give you this buff that makes you kind of play like a higher level character than you actually are. Mm-hmm. And then once you leave the game, you go back to your normal level, but you have all the XP, you have all the loot, you have all of that stuff. First time you play a mission, right? We have a very bespoke setup.
Yeah.
Where NPCs spawn from the exact right location at the exact right time, and the exact competitions. The next time you play a mission, it's like in a replay mode. We actually change the types of NPCs that spawn.
Cool.
We randomize it, and we actually change where they spawn from. So basically, when you replay a mission, you don't have the exact same experience every single time.
You don't know where to lob the grenade when they come out of
the... You don't have the Lexington. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But that's actually, I think, something else that when we talk about the beta, that might also be exciting to do, is to play the mission more than once, because it's going to be different every single time.
Peter put out an awesome GIF earlier this week of cats confirmed.
True. Cats confirmed.